So Republicans, in like 20, 30 years, someone's going to write a really famous book on Republicans, the behavior of Republican politicians, right? It might be me. I have a writing degree, creative writing, which actually might be a good thing to have on a resume when talking about Republican politicians. You really need to be creative with these idiots, right? So this Ron DeSantis guy in Florida, who's so against vaccination, he doesn't want to have vaccine passports. He doesn't want to require people to be vaccinated to go back out there and do things, right? More prominently is the cruise ship industry. Norwegian Cruise Lines are saying if you guys want to come on our cruise ships, right? We welcome you guys as paying customer. You have to be vaccinated, right? A year ago, people were throwing dead bodies off of cruise ships in the oceans, right? People were stuck on cruise ships from spring until September, right? People were dying on cruise ships, suffering on cruise ships, running out of food and water on cruise ships, right? To the point where ships were just stranded at sea. It wasn't pretty, right? It's factual things that happen. It's very devastating, right? Rightfully so, cruise ship owners as a business say, listen, you guys want to come back on our ships, get your fucking vaccines, because we don't want a repeat of last year, right? Apparently cruise ships were hit hard. Something about cruise ships, even if you wash your hands, right, and wear a mask, the coronavirus viruses just spread, airborne viruses just spread on cruise ships, regardless of all the precautions, right? The one thing that seems to be preventing people from dying, even if you get sick, right, is the vaccination, right? You get vaccines, if you get COVID, you're not going to die, you're not going to be sick for a long time to spread it, right? So it makes sense for a businessman, a cruise ship owner, a private enterprise, such as a cruise, to say, like, come back on our ship, we want your business, but just get your vaccine, you can come have all the fun you want. That's all they're saying, right? They're not telling people to get vaccinated. If you want to come onto our ships, you need vaccination. End of story. A simple rule that you could write on a chalkboard with one line, right? In English, in any language. Simple rule. What's the problem with that? Ron DeSantis is saying he doesn't want his residents to be vaccinated to do things. Don't understand why that is, right? Let's go back through history, right? Without vaccination, I'll start by saying this. Without vaccination, the science of vaccination, 90% of the population on this planet probably won't even be here. Won't be here. That's a fact, right? Without the polio vaccination, measles, all the vaccinations going back in history, the invention of penicillin, 90% of people won't be here, right? There's 4 pillars of civilization. Vaccination is one of these pillars, right? And what a pillar of civilization is something that keeps us living comfortably, right? I can live here comfortably. I have technology in front of me. I have running water in front of me. You hear that? Running water, right? I have fire over here. You hear that? Fire. I need fire, it's right there. Running water is right there, right? So vaccination, I'll start, right? First pillar is plumbing, right? Plumbing in Europe, in Western Europe, right? When plumbing was invented, people stopped dying of things that killed them, right? From throwing your shit out the window and having shit and pee just line the streets, the gut of the streets, right? Plumbing and sewage, right? Saved a lot of lives and made people reproduce more, right? The Haber process, fertilization of food, allowed farming to grow food for way more people than before the Haber process, right? Before that process that allowed food to be grown in bulk to feed a lot of people quickly, right? Right? Fossil fuels, right? Gives us energy. The third pillar, fossil fuels, right? Pillar of society, pillar of civilization. Without fossil fuels, the lights will be off, right? We'd be in a cave lighting fires right now, right? Fossil fuel gives us energy. As dirty as it is, it gives us energy. It lets us industrialize. It lets us live. It lets us earn a living, right? It also lets us not work physically hard, right? We could sit home, sit in our offices, and do mental labor for long times, right? So fossil fuel allows us to make more money and reproduce and be civilized and have nice things, right? The last and most important pillar is vaccination, right? Without vaccination, right? 90% of the people won't be here on this planet, right? Polio, smallpox, right? Measles, mumps, all the vaccinations babies usually get when they're born, right? That kills people. I mean, death rates were high before the vaccination for these things, right? I never forget this thing my grandmother told me. I remember asking my grandparents years ago, my grandmom, even my wife's grandmom, all our grandmoms, if you look back at your great grandmom, you realize they have a lot of kids, right? My grandmother had 8 kids, 1 died, and 7 remained, right? 1 died in childbirth. My wife's grandmother had like 9 kids, right? And I believe 2 died in the past, right? 9 kids. Me and my wife have 2 kids, and we're like, I have bags under my eyes, right? I can't control my 2 kids, right? All my friends and all my generations, I can't think of anyone that have maybe 4 kids is like, wow, you have a lot of kids, right? But 60, 70 years ago, people were having like lots of kids. Why was that? Right? My grandmom told me, you know, Olaf, we have a lot of kids because a lot of kids, babies from my time, right? When you were pregnant, you carried a baby for, 6 to 9 months. But pregnant women back then, right? My grandmother's era, my great-grandmother's era, knew that being pregnant you were not guaranteed childbirth. You're not guaranteed a kid, right? Now my wife is pregnant, my friends are pregnant. You guaranteed a baby. You almost like, you think, oh, I'm pregnant, you got names, you go buy stuff for the baby, you set up your bedroom or crib space for the baby, you buy a car seat. You know, chances are 99.99% you're gonna have a baby in 9 months, right? When you get pregnant, right? In 2021, right? In America, right? Other parts of the world, not so much. My grandmother's era, chances were like maybe 10 to 50% you're gonna have that baby is actually gonna be born and survive birth, right? My grandmother's gonna survive the childbirth as well, right? And that baby would not only grow up, but survive infancy and childhood, right? Which is rare, right? So my grandma had a lot of babies, right? And that's not even counting the unborn babies that didn't make it, right? And that's what these pillars, vaccination, fossil fuels, right? The Haber process for food, right? Plumbing, right? For sanitation. It keeps us civilized. It keeps us healthy. It makes us grow as a country, become stronger, right? It's not bullets. Bullets and tanks never made a country strong, right? It protected people, right? But Republicans think that's what we need, bullets and tanks, right? We don't need education, social services, healthcare. Bullets and tanks, right? These people don't study history much, right? Every empire that fell had bullets and tanks and arrows and bows and the best military, right? But look at how empires fall, right? The greatest empires in history, how did they fall, right? Eventually you could look at it and say, yes, they were attacked by outside sources and fell, right? But the real reason, why did they really decline and fall, right? It's from the inside out. Something inside was rotten and it just grew and spread, right? And maybe citizens became apathetic and just didn't care, right? Maybe infighting between each other, and outside forces looked and say, yeah, let's go attack them now and take over their land and rape their women and children, right? That's how empires fall, right? You have all the tanks and bullets in the world, but if you can't control your shit from the inside out, you're just an empty shell. An empty shell, right? And Ron DeSantis is an example of how empires fall. Doesn't want anyone to get vaccinated in the state of Florida. For whatever personal reason he has, don't know why, right? But I'm sure if he's on Fox News later today, he's going to blame the Democrats for something, Joe Biden for something, right? Trump won the election, right? Don't understand it.